Hello and good morning. This is Jessica with Skilled Womanhood. Today, my dad and I are going to start building a lean-to for the bull. We have a little mini Jersey bull, and I'm not going to be able to video the whole thing because when Dad and I get working, he's moving way too fast. It's not an instructional time, but I am going to show you little snippets of it from beginning to end so you can kind of get an idea of how we're progressing through it. Here's our little bull. This is Mace. And he needs some shelter for the winter. So right in this area where he is breaking the fencing down, we are going to put a lean-to right between these two kind of big panels of fencing. The rafters are going to run out this way, and we're going to see how it goes because we've never built anything with a bull right next to us. So we were talking about getting an air compressor and kind of blowing air at him to keep him away, but I don't know how it's going to go. We'll see. We'll let you know. So we got a big pile of milled lumber from the local miller. A bunch of pine. It's not ideal to work with pine, but we do have some redwood posts that can go into the ground, which will be a better choice. I have to help him unload the truck. Okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit through how some of the things my dad does that are really helpful. So check this out. This is an existing spike on this fence, and he uses it as a support for a very heavy 4x4 right now. This is going to be our ledger. So, and then over here, same thing. So if you don't have extra hands, you can just use these kind of things here. But we're actually going to be moving this out this direction toward us. We changed the configuration, so it's going to be right in here. So I wanted to show you what we did here. So again, Dad screwed in these as a support so that you could rest the beam on while you're climbing up the ladder. And then we clamped them on. We clamped the beam on. And then we were able to get it level, and then we screwed in a really big lag bolt. And the bull is here, being curious about the level right now. The next thing, when you're looking out at a space, you're trying to build a perfect square on the ground, right, or a rectangle. And you don't know exactly, like you couldn't just eyeball it. It's not gonna work most likely. So what you can do is something called a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So my dad used his measuring tape. He created a line here. And then we measured over to this corner with another measuring tape. And he had already measured this at 6. So instead of doing a 3, 4, 5 triangle, he did a 6, 8, 10. And he had 2 pencils in his tool bags, and he marked that point with a pencil. And then he did another pencil, and this is where our mark is. This is incredibly hard dirt, so it's not easy just to take a pole. It's not easy to take a post hole digger and dig into it. So he's got a special hammer. And then I also have a digging bar here, but even still, it's not promising. And I want to show you that this is how I hauled my tools over. And any tools that Dad wants to keep in, we also keep them in here. It's better not to have your tools rolling around in the dirt. You lose things more easily that way.
Okay, this is ugly.
Do you have earplugs?
No, I ain't got none yet. I gotta turn it the other direction.
It's called a roto hammer.
How does this work? Kinda.
If you don't have a tractor with an auger on it, this is how you dig holes. I want to explain something here that you didn't see. So my dad doesn't really believe in putting concrete around things. He's been building for so long, he thinks it's nonsense because it can rot the wood out quicker by keeping moisture around the wood. So what he did is he just kicked the dirt around it. Because this is a redwood beam, we trust that redwood will rot more slowly. And then he took the end of the digging bar and he compacted the wood with, or the dirt with that. He's having to break through a root right now. So we've come upon a root, and so my dad got out the Sawzall, and he's trying to cut the root out right now.
Nobody else gonna do it. You're gonna hire these people to do it, and they're too stupid to do it. That's why you gotta do it yourself. If something's done right, you do it yourself every time. Even if it's wrong, you do it. At least that's how you learn something.
It has to be turned here. The level's not right.
What way? What?
This way. Oh, jeez.
Not a big deal. It'll move anywhere you want it to.
Okay. That looks better. Probably nothing is to code, but my dad, after 50 years of building, doesn't care about code anymore. He thinks it's all money-making scheme. Okay.
You're way out of whack here. He wants a love bucket. Here? Come right in there. Yep. He's got to have his hooves trimmed. How's it going? You got level?
That looks good.
Pretty close, huh?
Pretty fair, yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna knock us down. It's not a confidence fence for him. He's gonna push that right over on us.
I know.
But it'll be a surprise when he does. Hit me with that bar, he'll be real surprised. Sure it's level, huh?
Yes, it's level.
Okay. Okay.
So the rafters have been cut and they have been laid roughly in the position that they're going to be nailed. We have an 18-inch overhang. Presently we have a problem where it's not squared up, which means this rectangular shape is more like a trapezoid, and that's a problem. We need it to be a perfect square if possible, so we're having to figure out how to, what we call, square it up. So because we are basically building a barn-like structure, which doesn't have to be perfect, you can see the way we squared it up is that we have adjusted it so these are, you see how there's nothing on this side, that this is completely flush. So that rafter is square to this beam. So if you were to take your, like this should be roughly square right there. Okay, that's what we're shooting for on both ends. And we had to plumb up that beam. Unfortunately, the existing fence over here, we were not able to plumb up like we would like, and that's, of course, why it got out of square. Now, blocks are being cut, and the blocks are going to set in between the rafters as a support.
What you doing there, little buddy?
So right now, we're putting in blocks between the rafters. The blocks are cut exactly the same to situate the rafters in the proper position, so we don't have to measure them every time. And the blocks have to be put in a position where they are perfectly perpendicular to the rafter, so that none of it exceeds the rafter, because we'll be putting roofing on that.
Where you going there, little City? Huh? You no fun? You guys are no fun. I'm gonna go back home and watch TV. Some video games. It was stuck. You can just push it out.
It was stuck.
Yeah, I know. Done the sponge.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was stuck.
I mean, I saw it. I can see it. Yeah. I can see that action. Yeah. Action Jackson.
So again, he's using the block as a guide. He pinches the rafter right tight next to it and nails the rafter.
Here's what I have. That's how you always do it. Use what you got. Figure it out. Figure it out.
So I'm going to show you a little bit about nailing these blocks. The goal is that we have to have it completely flush here on the top for the sake of the roofing.
Gonna have it done?
Yep.
Yeah. It's cockeyed. All that. All the above. That's about close enough.
Yeah. Okay, those are the blocks on this side, and then we have to put blocks on the other side. I want to show you a trick. So if the rafter is twisted away from the block and the person nailing it in is having a hard time nailing that twisted rafter, you can put a clamp on it and then pull, and then it will pull it toward the block and the other person can nail it. So whether you climb up this ladder to get and you push down on the clamp, or if you're down below and you're pulling on it, that's a really clever way to help line up a rafter that's twisted. All right, so we got the rafters and the blocks up. Just wanted you to take a look at what it looks like from above. So we just have a nice plane where we're going to put the roofing on. You always want to make sure that you're measuring the space to be a certain number of roof panels. You don't want it to be an oddball number because you don't want to have to cut anything, preferably. And then you can see from the top, the angle here. See, the blocks look at an angle, but they are perpendicular with the rafters. So it has been quite a few months since I videoed, and my dad and I usually fight, and so there was a lot of fighting by the end, and I did finish the roofing, but it was difficult. But I just wanted to show you the final result. So we had the rafters and the blocks, and then of course you have to put these 1x4 to give backing to the corrugated roofing. Okay. I also wanted to talk you through how we are securing everything from the high winds and snow loads and everything. So these are 45-degree braces. They have lag bolts here, and there's a lag bolt right here. I also had to drill these, and these are very long. These go all the way through to the other side. You can see them right there. Okay. Also, we had put a lag bolt on these 4x4 ledgers, but then we also secured the ledger by putting this piece here underneath, and this is also bolted in. If I could, I would get in and show you, but the bull is there. And so I always, like, I love Mace and I pet Mace, but always with a fence between me and he. Okay, so I'm really bad at the video stuff. I'm just so focused on actually doing stuff that it's hard for me to track this. But you can see on this side how we have those big bolts there. So we both have that little piece that's blocked at the bottom and has that 45 on it, so you don't knock your head on it when you walk around the corner. It's got the black lag bolts. It's got two big bolts. Those are carriage bolts. So that is some serious support. Oh, and this is Rosie's little calf. Hi, little Jessup boy. So we've got two little baby bulls now, but he's the cutest thing ever. Hi, sweetheart. Good. So this is one of Mace's little sons. I think I communicated everything we did here. So this is from beginning to end. If you need to build something out in the middle of a pasture, this is how you do it. And you can see we also put the center beam here and the 245 braces. You just dig another hole, put it in. This is a treated piece of wood. Sometimes people, if you don't have redwood or cedar or treated wood, they soak the wood in motor oil, and that would keep the pest and pestilence and rot from being a problem. So anyway, see if you can see any last little bit. So even though I wasn't able to show you the whole process of videoing, I'm hoping that you could at least see what is going on here, and then you could mimic it if you have any kind of building skills, or even if you don't, just check out what we did and see if you can do this. But in some ways, this is also for me. I want to have these skills and this time building with my father, so when he passes on, I can remember what he taught me, and I could recreate this if I need to. And just have the memories, even though we fight like the dickens whenever we're working together. I know there'll be fond memories when the time comes. All right. So Jessup, you're the cutest little creature I've ever known, and I love you. I was always allergic to animals, but since I've been eating a healthier diet and having raw milk, my allergies are virtually gone. So it's wonderful to enjoy these little ones. Oh, that's my boy. Yeah, good boy. Sweet thing. This is Jessup. So we called him Jessup because Jess was going to have to get up to milk Rosie. And that's no joke. That would be me. Jess is up early morning, and we're all milking somebody. All right. Thanks, bud. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.